What up, everybody? It is Aaron with Robert, and today we are doing another show here on Get Your Geek On. Another review.
Ooh, what
There's
are we
a lot
reviewing?
of reviews this week.
What are we reviewing? I don't remember.
Suicide Squad, and not the first one.
Wait. You mean the Suicide Squad?
Oh, is that how we change it? The Suicide Squad.
Because we're not reviewing that crap fest from 2016.
Nobody wants to remember that film. I mean, the bar, but I want to say this first. The bar's way down here, so wonder, can James Gunn just like step over it, essentially?
I think he leaps over it. Let's just get that out of the way. So yeah, the Suicide Squad, which is, from James Gunn, who, did the first two Guardians of the Galaxy movies. He's going to be doing Guardians 3 as well.
Another small film.
You know him, you love him. We also have a ton of characters returning from the first movie. We've got, Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. We've got Viola Davis as Amanda Waller. We've got Joel Kinnaman as Rick Flag, and even Jai Courtney as Captain Boomerang. And some of them even make it through the film.
Some, but this is Suicide.
Well, let's be okay.
Squad.
Just to start off, non-spoilers very quickly.
Yeah.
So in the first Suicide Squad movie,
Task Force X.
we lose Slingshot,
which nobody cared.
or Slipknot.
Yeah, nobody cared.
Which nobody cared. It was immediately like he didn't even get an intro.
No.
And he just got killed. And then sort of Diablo, I think, kind of sacrificed himself.
Yeah.
And nobody else died. From Task Force X, from the Suicide Squad. And it was this, really, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
And so, immediately off the bat, one of the things that this movie does way better is it just kills off a bunch of its characters, because it's like, guess what? This is a suicide mission. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
Is that we don't want to send the army and lose a bunch of army rangers. We want to kill off these criminals while maybe accomplishing a goal.
Yeah.
So I really like that, but let's just briefly, non-spoilers, because there's so much to spoil in this movie. So just briefly, what are your overall thoughts? Did you enjoy it? What did you like about it? What did you not like?
I think the first 5 minutes sets the tone for this film.
Yep.
And I did love that. I think it was the best way to introduce this film was the way James Gunn did the first 5 minutes. And overall, I liked the film a lot better than the first one. I'm going to compare it a lot to that one. Again, the bar is set very low. James Gunn could have just left me the first 5 minutes and said, this is my movie. I would have been like, you still did better than that first crap. And I would have been okay. Overall, I did like it. Mm-hmm. My favorite parts were the action. I think they did not hold back on the blood and gore.
No, they did
not.
And
I love that he didn't shy away from that hard R.
It earned its R rating.
I did think most of the comedy I felt was on point, especially between John Cena and Idris Elba.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say Elba. I almost had it. So between them two, I think their comedy was just on point every time.
Yep.
Now, my disappointments, though, there are some I had.
Okay.
Now, the Margot Robbie scene, I did love it. As much as I love the scene where she's captured and she's getting out, I didn't get the whole point of seeing all the bright colors and the flowers. We didn't get that. But I did like her character arc, because this is the weird thing. It is a soft reboot. We're not really saying this is a hard reboot and we're switching.
Yeah.
So if we go with that...
I don't even know that I would say it's a reboot. It's almost like, if you know anything about Suicide Squad, every mission is different and they bring different people on it.
Exactly.
And so this is just a new mission. Some of the people are the same ones that have been there before.
Which ties together really well.
But some of them are just brand new and they've never worked together. And so, yeah, I think
that's what helps.
There are definitely some differences in the way that the Amanda Waller team feels than in the first one. But in the first one, we didn't really get much with that team. And so you could say, well, that's her normal setup, and it was just, things were a little bit weird in that first one. So yeah, I don't even know that I would call this a reboot. It's just, they don't really reference much from the first movie.
They don't touch on it.
We don't care about that. We don't care about, the Enchantress and whatever, all that crap.
And that might be a good thing, because you don't need to. Since, like you said, most of those characters are not in there. And even the ones that are in there would have no reason to ask, oh, weren't you on this other mission? Because they're not really supposed to know, because they're still Black Ops missions.
Yep.
So I do like the fact that Margot Robbie's character, I feel, as Harley Quinn, has now gotten a full arc. We had her first appearance in Suicide Squad. We get Birds of Prey, and now we have this one.
Yeah.
And I think that was phenomenal, how it all connected. And I know some people were kind of griping about it, but I'm like, that's a full character arc.
Sure.
Like, she's perfect. But there were some scenes I didn't like, which we can get into later. But overall, I really enjoyed it. I'm not going to say anything bad, except maybe the fight scene with Starro was kind of a little weak, I would say. But again, you're putting almost a godlike character against a bunch of random rogues.
Yeah.
You really kind of have to like bring its power down.
Sure.
What about you though? Overall, what do you think?
So I enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I thought, action packed. I thought the action was really good. I thought the comedy was really good. The parts that let me down was I think what James Gunn does really well, especially in the first Guardians movie, is the emotional core is really strong. And in that movie, like, you get, you really only get an emotional focus on a couple of characters.
Right.
You get Peter Quill and the relationship with his mom and how that impacts his whole life. And then you get like the We Are Groot scene, and because we're not trying to give emotional weight, like, we know there's something there with Drax, we've hinted at it, but we don't explore it really.
Yeah.
We know that there's something going on with Gamora as she's trying to become a better person and make better choices. We know that there's obviously a history with Rocket and everything he's gone through, but we're not really exploring those. We're focusing the emotion.
Yeah.
And I feel like this movie, The Suicide Squad, fell into the same trap that I felt Guardians 2 fell into, which is it was trying to give us too many emotional things to care about. Because we got, stuff with Ratcatcher 2. We got stuff with Bloodsport and his relationships. We got stuff with even Rick Flag and him and Peacemaker and how they're kind of opposed in some of their things.
Yeah. There's something there too, but you don't know.
Yeah. We got like the conversation with I'm trying to remember now. Polka Dot Man. And I just felt like none of the emotional beats were quite strong enough. Like they were all competing with one another.
Yeah.
And there wasn't a single one. Like I think the Ratcatcher 2 one was the strongest.
Yeah.
Especially, and she gets kind of the flashback in the middle of the final battle, similar to Peter Quill. Like Take My Hand, Peter in Guardians. You get like she's having this cathartic moment. And you get like this little flashback, and I liked it, but I didn't love it. Right. And I just felt like that was the portion of the movie that let me down. Outside of that, I loved a lot of this. Again, it was a fun ride. It was a fun 2-hour movie. Like I enjoyed it. We went to see it in theaters together.
Yep.
I watched it again on HBO Max because I enjoyed it, and I was like, I want to watch it again. So there's a lot of good to like. But the emotional things did fall flat for me.
It will, and I really believe there are some parts that do fall flat. Like as much as I will hype up the first 5 minutes, there are a couple of reasons I don't like the first 5 minutes too.
Okay, so let's just spoiler it.
Spoiler for this part.
So we're up to this
Fillion.
point. Before we get into spoilers, I liked it a lot. Probably a 7 out of 10, somewhere around there.
I would say about the same. Like not just above, a little above average, but a little more than too. I think. Okay. But yeah, I would probably say about 7. So if you just want that part, boom, you're done.
We're done.
If you want to hear some talking, stay for a little while longer. So first of all, we have so many names in this film, and we didn't touch on that. But Nathan Fillion's in it as TDK.
The detachable kid.
The detachable kid.
His scenes are hilarious. As he can detach his arms, but then they're just regular arms.
They're still just arms.
Like they're moving at the same speed they would be moving if he was walking with them. They're hitting people with the strength of a flopping arm. Like normally when you punch someone, you've got your weight of your whole body.
You have your back, your shoulder, all of this is going in.
It's just a detachable arm that's just flailing around. Like it was very funny. Very
was
effective.
No point to that.
No.
So, but I do want to comment still, and I'm going to hold on to it because I love Nathan Fillion.
Yep.
He is technically may or may not be dead.
Yeah, was in critical condition, but left on a beach where but who's gonna rescue him?
We don't know if he was left. They may have pulled him there.
Who?
The army, the military that was there.
Why?
To interrogate him.
No.
We don't know.
He's dead.
I'm having hope that Nathan Fillion, you might come back as TDK.
I mean, I do.
You're not going to.
I do love, the setup of the team. We get Savant, Michael Rooker.
Yes.
Like we get introduced to his character, and it was set up from the very first moment when he is the only one they show getting the bomb implanted in his head. Is like, well, that's the one that they're gonna explode.
Foreshadowing, yeah.
And of course, that is what happens. But I do love how they kind of establish him as this total badass who like thinks everyone else is amateurs, and then he's the one that runs away.
Yeah, he's the one that first runs and blows his head off.
That was funny. Like the Weasel
Black
character.
Guard.
Like I thought it was
Weasel?
It was so funny, and it happened twice because you have the first one with Weasel, and then the second one with Bloodsport. With his rat phobia, where it's like, this is a bureaucracy and people just forgot to check. And it was like, did anyone check that Weasel knows how to swim?
Nope, he drowned.
And they're all kind of looking around awkwardly at each other like, was it supposed to be me? Was I like you? Whoops daisy.
My bad.
Very funny.
The Blackguard, who's the first one shot.
Yeah, Pete Davidson.
I thought it was funny, like, he's up there, hey, guys, it's me. Like, any of these people are really going to know who the player is.
Well, yeah, and he even says, like, I'm the one that contacted you. So clearly, like, I have a feeling Amanda Waller somehow set that up.
Yeah, she did.
Like, she facilitated him contacting them in some way.
To draw the whole military there so the real team gets in.
So now I have a question for you.
Okay.
Amanda Waller, designs this mission. She knows the only way on the island is they have to create a diversion. Right. So basically she assembles two teams, right? Team A, Team B. Team A is the one that we first get introduced to with, Rick Flag, Harley Quinn, Captain Boomerang, Mongol, Weasel, Blackguard, Savant, Javelin. I think that might be it. I think we got
everybody. Yeah.
And so that's the first team we get, and they get demolished.
They get annihilated. Yeah.
So my question to you is, it's the movie is telling me that was intentionally the sacrificial team.
Right.
Right? So did she expect anyone to survive on that team?
See, this is where I get upset with that scene too. I guess maybe, I don't know. But again, Colonel Rick Flag, who is always...
It's where I'm going.
Yeah. And I'm going to go there.
Yep.
Colonel Rick Flag is like her number one guy.
Right.
And you literally put not even a team that could maybe hold off for a little while. You put him with TDK, who can't do crap. Javelin, who his ability is literally throwing a javelin around. Yeah. So it means, he's going to stand up. M16s, you're dead.
I guess you've got Savant and Mongol, and even Captain Boomerang looks pretty cool.
But if you look at Savant, where was his guns? He was carrying 0 guns on him.
They had to have been somewhere. They didn't show it.
They don't show it. The only one who carried a bag, though, was Harley, who had the rocket launcher in it. Then Weasel, who again is an up-close fighter.
My problem is, if this was always supposed to be the sacrificial team, why is Rick there? Why is Rick not leading the other group and Bloodsport leading this one? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Or even keep Bloodsport with him, because obviously they work together.
Yeah.
Because he makes a comment later like, Rick was my friend.
Right. I mean, you need a leader of this team, and so it needed to be someone.
Yeah.
But I don't know why it's Rick Flag if the intention of this team is basically to get wiped out, which I'm pretty sure it was.
Yeah.
Based on the everything that we get with Team 2.
Yeah.
Why is Rick Flag there? It really bothered me, especially on a rewatch.
It really gets me every time, because it was like, this is your guy. And now the only reason I could say that she wants him dead is because later on, the hard drive gets around and she thinks she knows Rick would do that. Well, then don't even send Rick on this mission at all. Right. Because this is a mission where he's going to turn on you finally, because she is kind of like the Nick Fury of Marvel. Always 10 steps ahead of everybody, always knows everything. So how Rick Flag is going to be when he finds out about this hard drive. I would never send that guy in.
Right.
I'd be like, hey, go over here and do this mission for me. But this one, no.
That was my thought too, is like, okay, maybe he's started to become more disillusioned mission after mission after mission. They didn't establish that.
They don't, and that's the problem.
And so if there had been something like that, that even you could just have a line of dialogue later of him saying like, Waller's really been pushing the envelope with this stuff. Like
Exactly.
I'm and then you could say like she knows. Like she knows that he feels that way, and so she did that on purpose, but they don't give that to
Or
her.
even somebody in that room like, hey, that's really weird. Why did you send Rick there? And she just kind of glares. Like, just make it a facial expression like, you don't need to worry about why I'm sending Rick out there to die. Yeah. And that's what bothered me, though. That whole, I love that scene. I will praise that scene. But Rick Flag should never have been on that beachhead.
Yeah.
Or again, if you're going to put him there, put him with a bunch of trained assassins. Because, I mean, there are so many in the DC universe who know how to use weapons, who are basically dead shots all over the place.
Yeah. I mean,
and
like,
we get
literally, Bloodsport is Deadshot in this movie. He's not, but he is. Peacemaker is Deadshot in this movie. He's not, but he is.
And it's like, you're telling me if you, especially, and again, here's my problem as wanting this team to be a suicide team.
Right.
They died off so quickly. And you're telling me you wouldn't want more like strategic people who could possibly hold them off a little bit longer, so for sure Team B gets in and goes to the beachhead, and Team A just doesn't get wiped out in 30 seconds, and everyone's like, okay, go back to your post.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, they just stumble on Team B, and they're dead.
Yeah.
So that's my problem.
I definitely,
Mongal, too. I hated Mongal.
It was a waste.
Why are you going to jump on a helicopter? Yeah. Which I know Rick is like, stop, because he knows it's a dumb move. She jumps on it, and it blows up and sets her on fire, and she's dead.
Right.
And I'm like,
and wipes out Captain Boomerang in the process.
But then it's like, and then again, the whole arm sticking out. Hold the boomerang.
I think my favorite death scene was Javelin. As Harley Quinn is like next to him, and he's like, you're the only one worthy to carry this javelin. Carry it for, and then he dies, and Harley's like, carry it for who? What are you talking about? Like, and that was definitely a running gag that worked beautifully throughout the movie. Is when she does get reunited with that javelin later,
man, she
tears it up. Totally like is a badass with it, and then like throughout the movie she keeps like losing it briefly and then getting. She's like, here it is again. Like, yeah, I like that. So you touched on the Harley stuff.
Yes.
I will say I loved everything with Harley in this movie. Mm-hmm. I also felt like her storyline really dragged the rest of the movie down.
It
Not because I didn't like it, because I really did, but it felt very out of place. It was like, wait, why is this storyline happening? And I liked it, but it just, every time we cut to it, I was like, why are we with Harley? Like, it just, I don't know.
And again, that's where I feel like, why did I have to have this whole scene with the flowers and the birds singing? Like, what was the real point of all of that? Like, why isn't it just a run and gun scene? Like, okay, here's my Frank Castle moment with my two M16s, and I'm gonna mow everybody down.
I think part of that is that, like, Harley is an insane person.
We
know this.
But that's the problem with her. Well, you go first. I'm gonna finish something.
I would just say that I think that, I think she has obviously some dissociative behaviors.
Right.
And so I think that as much as she knows she's killing people, I think and it kind of comes clear when she says to the president that she kills, she's like, I think you look better like this with all those nasty thoughts out of your head. Like, I think she's kind of viewing that as she's liberating these people from their evilness. And so, like, I think that's just part of her psychosis. I didn't mind it. I actually thought it was kind of a cool effect, and I thought it worked.
And see, I guess here's where I go opposite. I mean, first of all, I want to touch on this. Again, her full story arc. We get the Joker in love with the Joker and all that in Suicide Squad 1, which, Jared Leto, you suck, sorry.
Well, that storyline was terrible.
Storyline terrible, too. Yep. Then we get Birds of Prey, where she's kind of herself getting liberated from the Joker and all of that.
Yep.
And this one, I think, was full closure. She is away from the Joker, even killing the president, because she's like, I see some red flags. Killing children's a red flag.
Kind of a red flag.
So, but here's my thing. And these movies they touch on it sometimes.
Okay.
Harley Quinn is, yes, she is insane, but she is highly intelligent. And they don't touch on that enough, I think. This one, they do a little bit more. I felt
like they did.
They do.
Yeah.
And I guess that's where I get a little like, she's not, I don't know if she's really insane as we think she is, or if she's just playing the part, and she's just that smart. In the comic books, everyone thinks she's crazy, and they forget sometimes that she is highly intelligent.
Right.
She's friends with people like Catwoman and Poison Ivy, who again could take her out in a heartbeat, you would think, like especially Poison Ivy controlling plants and all of that. She takes them both out like that because she's like, you forget I'm smart and I've been watching everybody. and knows everybody's weaknesses and takes them down.
She's very strategic and all those things.
She's almost like Batman.
Yeah, a little
because
bit.
she's always. It's like, oh, she's just the crazy one in the room. No, she already read the entire room. She knows all of your weaknesses, and she could take you down whenever she feels like it.
Yeah.
And they touch on it a little bit in this sense because, again, he lets his guard down. She knows when to take advantage because he's, let's face it, he's doing the villain monologue. And she's like, bam, okay, yeah, red flags. And I did like that we touch on it more, but I think that's where I get upset with that colorful scene because I'm like, is she really insane or is it she's plain insane and she's highly intelligent?
No, I think she is absolutely insane. That doesn't mean she's not also highly intelligent. I think the two are not mutually exclusive.
Right. What is it? There's a thin line between genius and insanity.
Yeah, she is riding that line very
Exactly.
hard.
But I did love that fight scene. I did like how she killed everybody.
Yeah.
That was cool.
All right, let's talk about our Team B now. So we've got Idris Elba as Bloodsport. We've got John Cena as Peacemaker. We've got David Dastmalchian as Polka Dot Man.
I can say one name.
We've got
Sylvester Stallone.
Sylvester Stallone voicing King Shark. And then we also have Daniela Melchior, I believe is her name, as Ratcatcher 2. And the introduction to that team comes after our first beach scene.
Right.
And we get, basically Amanda Waller totally blackmailing, Bloodsport to be part of this team, using his daughter against him, basically, and you can see the seeds of her team turning against her as soon as she does that.
Oh yeah.
But then, we get introduced to the other characters, and I gotta admit, the introduction of all of them was just really funny. Like, I love, the speech to Bloodsport about Peacemaker, which is the exact speech she just made about him, after then saying, and we every team member is selected for their unique abilities, and he's like, that's what I do.
Are you messing with me?
And I that's the moment of their rivalry where he's like, I do it better, blah blah blah.
I use smaller bullets.
Right.
I hit more center. How do you hit more center?
Right. Yeah. And so you get into that, but it's also clear the reason she chose Peacemaker was for the insurance that
against Rick Flag, essentially.
Well, either Rick Flag or even Bloodsport. Like, I think.
Yeah, that's true.
I think she knows that, everyone else on the team has no love for America. So when they find out what the actual twist is,
they don't care. They're gonna
all
do what
of
they
them, there might be someone on the team that goes, yeah, I don't know how I feel about this, and so she's got her ace in the hole, Peacemaker, that's gonna do this. So
I mean, that's true.
It's fine, but Ratcatcher 2. All that, and like with Sebastian the rat, I'm not shaking that rat's hand. Like that was all funny.
Yeah.
The scene where she breaks it down, and we've got questions from John Cena, and hand. Right.
Yes.
Yeah, which was in the trailer, but funny. I
still love it.
I loved Ratcatcher 2 just being like, what's that?
Oh, the overhead
projector, which was so funny because it was like, do you use it really anymore? No, not really. Why don't you just throw it out?
I mean, it makes a good point. Like,
and you get Amanda Waller's just like, I'm moving on. Like, to the next question.
And then poor Polka Dot Man, I hope we all die.
Yeah.
We're done.
Which you can tell, again, Polka Dot Man is very traumatized.
Oh, yeah.
So he's
he
ready.
Really is.
He's ready to die at all times.
Oh, yeah.
And, I will say, getting into then the mission, we get, kind of King Shark. At the beginning, he's kind of like he's just a big monster. He's like the mindless, he's Hulk.
He's almost Hulk.
He's Hulk. He's Groot. He's Drax a little bit. Like he's kind of an amalgamation of those kind of characters, and we kind of see this connection build between him and Ratcatcher 2, which I like. We see, Peacemaker and Bloodsport just constantly, basically,
one up in each other.
Pardon my language, measuring dicks.
Yeah.
Like that's literally what they're doing the whole time. And then, there's something weird going on with Polka Dot Man.
Yeah. And I do like to say that they upgraded Polka Dot Man. Since he was a tech-based villain and the polka dots were supposed to be different items that he could do stuff with, I like that.
Yeah, they changed a lot.
I like that was perfect, I thought. Yeah. But I do want to touch, the whole scene, one scene that I did not like and I liked, Basically, the first time they're measuring, you could say, they're killing the whole group, the gorillas.
Yeah.
And they think it's the bad guys. And literally just one-upping each other. Just bam, bam, bam. I love that whole part. I love the scene where it's like, why wasn't I alerted when they finally get to Rick Flag to save him? And they're like,
well, you didn't see anyone.
There
was nobody out there.
Yeah.
And then you get Polka Dot Man being like, I turned them all into my mother and I killed them.
And then it's just like, oh.
And then King Shark like coughs on a finger.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, it didn't
we
work.
murdered them all.
And so, like, again, I get she really hates the government. She hates this hierarchy that's there. But you're telling me you're not going to want to murder some of these Suicide Squad members after they literally just killed men and women, like women who were just there, like cleaning clothes, like doing nothing wrong. I mean, it bothers me so much.
I think I would just say that she's resigned to it. There's nothing she can do. They've already killed all those people, and they could outgun her again. Like if she tried to fight back, they would just kill her. They have clearly shown they don't care.
I guess
so. Yeah. Why she decides to help them? I mean, you kind of get the, her feeling is, well, this is my only chance. They're my best chance to actually,
win,
take this down. So I hear you, but I did think, that made sense. Milton was Peter from Deadpool 2, right? Like he's the team member that doesn't why is he there? And I love their whole scene when he dies. And Polka Dot Man is like angry at everyone that they don't know who Milton is, and and Harley Quinn
is still with us.
Yeah, Harley Quinn didn't really know him because she
just met him and
right.
It was
she had
never
just met him,
introduction.
so that kind of tracks. But I love Bloodsport, who's this highly trained assassin. He's like, wait, he was still with us?
Didn't even notice.
Why was he here? Because he was helping us.
How oblivious he was
doing
to him.
What? Which is totally you totally understand. Bloodsport's like, why would this regular guy be with us?
Exactly. Why didn't he get off somewhere when we were about to go into this base, knowing you're gonna die?
Why didn't he even come into the base?
Exactly.
There was no reason for him to make the trip.
No.
Because they didn't even have him driving it. They had the Thinker driving it. Which, by the way, we haven't mentioned Peter Capaldi yet.
Oh my God, yes.
Great.
Yes.
Fantastic.
From the greatest doctor I like to the funny villain in this.
Yeah,
one.
he was really great.
Great job.
So I think that, after we get the massacre on the beach, after that, we still lose, several characters.
Yeah.
Rick Flag.
Yeah, he still dies. Which I was not happy with that. I really like Rick Flag's character.
So this is what I will say is that I love the character of Rick Flag, and I just, in the first one and this one, I really feel like they didn't do that character justice.
No.
It just felt like, his motivations weren't earned, which kind of circles back to what we talked about earlier. Why is he so ready to betray Amanda Waller and Task Force? I get that, his line is I signed up to serve my country, not be a puppet or something like that.
Yeah, they're trying to sell it,
and so
those
it's
few lines.
I get it, but I also, I think Joel Kinnaman is just maybe not that great of an actor. And so I'm not necessarily buying what he's selling.
Maybe. I
don't know. And so I just, I had some problems with that.
But the problem I think too is, I don't know if he's acting very well. I mean, I've only seen these movies that he's in. I think at the same time though, it's one of those, he's not giving enough backstory. All we know is he's a Colonel Rick Flag. He's the all-American hero because Peacemaker even kind of, I don't want to do this. He doesn't want to because, again, Peacemaker is about peace, and he almost respects Rick Flag.
By any cost necessary, I will kill everyone in order to get peace.
I mean, once everybody's dead, it's peaceful.
I guess so. Yeah.
But I feel like there's something there because Peacemaker didn't shoot him right off the bat, and but you've already seen Peacemaker's I'll kill everybody, don't care.
Yep.
So there had to be some military record. There's something, but it's all alluded to. It's it's alluded that he has this maybe huge background of you're an awesome soldier. You are what I want to be as a peacemaker. If I was a good guy, I'd be you kind of thing. Okay, but why? Why are we getting this? We have no backstory from the first Suicide Squad or this one. If you read the comics, you got some backstory, but it's I don't have that going into this film.
Yeah.
And again, why kill off this character? And why not give us like the backstory? Like maybe he sides with Bloodsport, and it's like, okay, well, why did he side with Bloodsport? Well, maybe we'll get a Suicide too, and we'll talk more about how these guys have worked together in the past, why they're friends.
Yeah, I really, I thought Bloodsport should have been the one to die.
I really did too, honestly.
Out of those three, and then we kind of, we think Peacemaker gets killed, of course, in the post-credits scene. He's not dead, and he's coming, we know we're getting a series, a Peacemaker series on HBO Max, that James Gunn is doing, so
he's producing that one, right? You said?
And directing.
Oh, he's directing.
I think not all of the episodes, but a bunch of them. And John Cena's returning. Those people from Amanda Waller's team are returning.
Yeah.
We don't know who else. And so I am not super crazy excited for that. I think I'll watch it and see if I like it, but.
And this is my problem.
Yeah.
John Cena, I'm not bashing the guy at all. I think he's trying to take.
He's giant and
he
he'll
would
kill you.
Freaking kill me. He's trying to do the Rock approach, do some of these B-list films and stuff, and slowly try to get your way into these A-list films. Because if you look at some of the Rock's early work in films, they are very B films and you really did that, Rock. And I think Cena's doing that same route.
I think John Cena has actually a lot of very good comedic timing. I think he's not a comedian, but I think he has really did you see Blockers?
Which is that one?
It's like a coming of age kind of comedy, and he plays the dad of.
That's not the Firehouse one, right?
No.
Okay, no, then I haven't seen that.
Yeah,
one.
Blockers I thought was really funny, and I thought he was really funny in it.
But see, that's my question, because I've never seen that one, so I guess I'll say it this way:
yeah.
Is it him, or is he good at bouncing off other people?
No, I think he's really solid.
Okay.
With his comedic timing, and I think his comedy works in this movie too. I think
him and Idris Elba are just they're
great,
on fire.
But even that scene where he's starfish. That's that's a slang term for a butthole. I think there's any connection. That's fun. And even when she's no, he's no. I think he's funny. I think he's a funny guy. So yeah, I liked all of that. Again, so Rick Flag dies. We think we lose Peacemaker, at least in that moment. It looks like he's dead. And then, of course, Polka Dot Man.
Milton, Polka Dot Man.
Yeah, and Milton.
Don't forget Milton. Got to throw him in there. Got to throw my boy.
Yeah. So,
his power. I forgot Milton's power. Bullet sponge.
There you go. I felt again, I already felt like Bloodsport should have been the one instead of Rick Flag.
Yeah.
And I also felt like we were one death short. I felt I don't know who. I don't know if it was Ratcatcher that should have bid it.
No,
I don't know if it was
not her.
King Shark.
King Shark, I think, should have.
Or, even Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
She had kind of the completion of her arc, as you said.
Yeah.
And clearly they did not want to kill Harley Quinn. And I understand that.
Yeah.
But I just felt to really have this be kind of ooh, the Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
I felt like we needed just one more from that prime team.
Honestly, kind of was hoping King Shark would have been the one that died, because Idris Elba sold it for me. Margot Robbie's always been good.
Yep.
I can't pronounce her name. The girl who played Ratcatcher too.
Daniela Melchior, I believe.
Daniela. Mm-hmm. I fell in love with those characters. John Cena again. John Cena's right below him. I liked him too.
Yeah.
But I loved them three of their screen time.
I thought David Dastmalchian stole every scene he was in.
He did.
Polka Dot Man was a lot of fun.
I thought he was, but I still like the scene with Idris and Peacemaker where he shoots the guy in the shoulder, and he's non-lethal. He's was explosive rounds or whatever.
Right, whatever.
And they blow up.
Nobody likes to show off. They do when you're showing off something badass.
And he's like, crap. He's right. It's just that's true, because you don't want to admit it, though.
Right. He's
but he didn't say it to his face either. He turns around. He's right.
Yeah.
And I love that. I think that's perfect. I don't know. Again, I love these characters. The humor was on point.
It was a lot of fun.
But overall, I think we've getting a good solid 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
I probably would watch it again.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe one more time at least.
And we've barely touched on the ultimate villain of this movie, Amanda Waller.
Oh, that is true. She really is.
It's not Starro.
No,
it's
Starro's just chilling.
It's 100% Amanda Waller.
I think that scene too was good, where she gets hit in the head with the golf club.
Oh yeah.
But I love how crazy she was starting to snap finally.
Well, yeah, I mean,
the
entire Task Force X was basically flipping her the middle finger and saying,
Yep.
because she kind of is like, the mission was to destroy the records of Project Starfish.
Yeah, we don't care if it walks out.
She does. I would say that she wasn't necessarily intending for them to unleash the beast.
Yeah.
But once it is, she's like, well, this is destruction in a country that is anti-American. Like, we have no problem with that. And you could see it's like, what? Like, there's
everybody,
a giant monster, and even her team is like, we should let them try and defeat this monster.
I love how all of them said that without saying it though.
Right.
Like no one says it. And again, one thing I did like is that it's always about kids. Like every time it's something, it's for the kids. Like, there's kids involved. There's kids. And I love that. Yep. That was kind of like the one thing we could all agree on. Even the villains, the heroes, the team, the Amanda Waller's team.
Right.
We need to protect the children.
Yep.
And I love that was the central thing that could bring everybody together. Like Bloodsport, he's kind of like, I got you, Ratcatcher, because you're my daughter. And again, you could almost reverse that. She's wanting to take care of like a father figure now to her.
Which, by the way, cameo from Taika Waititi as the first Ratcatcher. I really liked both of his scenes. I think it was it didn't hit as hard as I wanted it to, but it hit harder because it was Taika Waititi.
Yeah, I think that was perfect. And again, I think that this film is, at the end of the day, it's about everybody coming together on. There is one thing we could all agree on. I think. And I think that's what.
Yeah,
helped out.
I think it's about like it's a little bit about redemption for people that you might think are unredeemable, and we get some redemption from these people.
From everybody.
And so I liked it. I thought that it was completely ridiculous and also perfect for this movie that an army of rats is what took down Starro. Harley Quinn stabs it through the eye with the javelin, kind of completing the arc of having the javelin.
And then she left it in there too. She didn't come back out with it.
And all the rats, go into that hole and just like eat Starro from the inside. And I love that final moment of Starro, possessing, I think it was the general's body.
The general, yeah.
Saying to them like, I was happy floating in space looking at the stars. And you kind of get this moment of like, he's a victim too. Yes, he's destroying this, this city.
Pent up anger for 30
killing
years.
a lot of people and all these things. Like, he's not a good guy.
Yeah.
But he's also a victim of the American government.
And to me, it's not one of those, is he not a good guy or is he just, I mean, think about it. It's a baby throwing a temper tantrum. We don't kill the baby. We're just kind of like, okay, we got to correct the behavior. So what if somebody tried to correct Starro and be like, hey.
But if the baby can kill an entire city, maybe you need to do a little something.
Maybe they call his mom and be like, Mom, hey, look, can you come tell your kid to like, knock it off?
Not kill this city?
Yeah. And maybe Mama Starro would have been like, hey.
So basically the plot of Looper?
Yep.
It's the little kid that has the powers, and it's like, hey, Emily Blunt, can you like calm your kid down?
Just calm down. See, we bring in Mama Starro, and Mama Starro would be like, baby, where have you been for 30 years? Well, that guy. But then you got the problem is like, oh, they did what?
Yeah.
And then Mama Starro might try to kill everybody too.
It's like, kill the thinker, kill the government agents of Corto Maltese, and then maybe leave the people alone.
Yeah,
it's like it's
okay,
not their fault.
Yeah,
but
But he doesn't know what's the government and what's not, so he's destroying everything.
Yeah, he's just killing them all.
Yeah.
So I mean, I thought it was a fun movie, a lot of
Yeah.
fun, great action, really good humor. The emotional beats didn't hit as strong for me as I wanted them to, but again, I thought it was a lot of fun. I would love to see another one with these returning characters. Again, I'm not super excited about that Peacemaker series, but maybe I'll enjoy it. We'll see.
Maybe we'll get more of the people coming back around.
Yeah. And, with that being said, we've talked a long time about this movie, but it's a good movie.
It is. So remember, guys, comment down below what you think. Let us know what you liked or did not like about this film. Hopefully you enjoyed this little talk and little rants about everything. And let us know. I want to know, did you like where they took like Polka Dot Man and everybody else's powers? Like, did you like it? But at the end of the day, let us know. And on that note, I'm Aaron. That's Robert. And get your geek on and stay geeky, guys.
Justice for Milton.